Welcome to another episode of Gould. Today I want to read just some extracts from a short story called The Elephant's Graveyard. It's not yet finished. However, this is the start of it. Laying down the slabs of slavery, heavy, brutal and completely judgmental. There is no equality here, thank you. Not even on paper. Ha! Laying down the slabs of mediocrity. There's nothing exemplary here. Only the human humdrum sweating over a slab, humming, breaking a back for the hire to come. Laying down the slabs for the walking dead. Ah! Shouting in my head. Come be one of us. All miserable as fuck. Come be one of us. Doped up on junk. Come all be one of us. All unhappy and that. I was listening to BBC Two, Jamie Cullen's jazz show, which I really enjoy. He plugged a gig for an artist who was playing a gig in St Ives, and I thought to myself, what lives some people get to live. How magical, how triumphant, agreeable to the last breath. In fact, dying must be a real bastard, unless they fare better there too, of course, probably do. The tortured voice of the masses cuts in. Be one of us. That's the card you've been dealt, cunt. Never mind the tortured artist routine. We are the truly tortured. We are drunk and too tired to even care now. We are full of fear and GM foods, the price of petrol, my second divorce, my mother's in hospital, and soon be Christmas. Haven't paid off the last one yet. And by far the worst, Saturday night TV. Look and laugh at the presenters. Oh, I like him, said Dad, about Dermot O'Leary. He's a survivor. How intriguing, I thought to myself. Dermot, an affable man, no doubt, at least on TV. So where did Dad gauge this information from? Perhaps in a Sunday supplement, following lunch, just before the match. Perhaps that's what he found so endearing about the feature on Dermot. A crappy childhood come good. Found his place in the world of celebrity horseshit. Or did he perceive something in him, beneath the short cropped hair, which Dad approved of, and chiselled jawline, his warm, likeable hosting skills? Hey, he's an everyman. Your mother would be pleased. I bet he can afford to go down to the jazz club in St Ives and have a chat with Jamie. If I was happy with my lot, I would be less inclined to, well, be so full of hate and contempt. Girls marched down the street bearing breasts, legs and bums like sculptures of blood. It was one of those guys, if I was one of those guys that had one of them, or several of them, like sweets in a shop, I expect. Once you feel the part, like Russell Brand, I'm glad his marriage didn't work out. He didn't deserve happiness, no sir. Not after such off-the-programme behaviour. 3 a day, I heard, all at once sometimes. Is that like having breakfast, lunch and supper all at once? I was practising my chosen religion before I chose not to any longer. And I was turning my head away, averting my eyes, when I could see a sexy figure looming. Then I'd be accosted by a magazine cover on a shelf with huge breasts, bikinis. Then I'd turn the other cheek, only to be confronted by arse cheeks and pussy cheeks, coming at me from all directions, saying, no, not you, not you. I was looking at the ground, then one passed me, and I just found myself looking round, hypnotised by the beauty, paralysed by my desire. It killed that last bit of hope and humanity I had left in me, if I'm being honest. Something of a cosmic joke. The gods seem to have typecast me, the guy who doesn't get the girl, when I feel I am a worthy, highly adaptable method actor. The very thing that promises such ecstasy has in fact delivered mostly misery. Now knowing that there is something in my chemistry that is missing, that's something paramount to attracting women. Without this animalistic allure, That is, as far as I can tell, not a mysterious, romantic allure, as is the great illusion ladies often mistake it for, and fall prey to, but on the contrary, it is fickle, common, and yet fastidious, in without its indefinable presence, a primal scent, if you will, that your every merit as a man, if only in the most sexual sense, is largely, if not entirely, missed. In layman's terms, I just don't give off the right scent. They sniff as all do animals, and then whatever may have caught their eye or intrigued them initially is discarded when the whiff hits them. Pooh, they say to themselves, this boy don't smell right. Subconsciously, of course. I think. I know. It is not going to be accepted by many. For starters, it doesn't cast a particularly flattering light on the finer species. And indeed, neither does it the men who are most popular. It is their superior pulling power, due to strength, guile, good looks, charm, success, the gift of the gab, etc. No, you give off the right chemical. Of course, I'm not saying that character, wealth, success, fame, fortune don't play their part. And for that matter, love. And as for the handful that have come my way, I think that they indeed like me enough to go against the sniff factor. Give them a try. I could make this very complex. Like some women have evolved beyond the sniff factor. However, I'm not going there. I think the old chestnut of having a woman possibly increases the chemical factor that is normally so deficient. Aside from all that, it is also without doubt in my mind, one's fate. One's fate is dictated by all these chemicals swimming and swirling around us. You know how accurate all this setup is. The atmosphere, the universe, life. It's all finely balanced. It's one of the arguments for a creator. How can all this be an accident? Well, I'm not going there. What I'm trying to get at is the same rule applies to the human as the animal. One thing is missing, or low on the ground, and hey presto, you have a disease, a malfunction, which suddenly makes the total work of genius, that is the mind, that is the mind, that is the body, a fucking nightmare to live and die in. In a sense, what I'm saying is there is something ridiculous in my theory to others, yet just plain the truth to me. So ridiculous that it is probably true. And is it not the case of this crazy world of ours, that some have far too much and others far too little? If you have all the chemical prowess, then this won't even make or be of the least bit of interest to you. I'm sure I'll be no different. You know, nothing has ever made me feel so good as when I've been with a woman. An inescapable feel-good factor written all over my smug face. And when I'm denied this most natural and most powerful of all pleasures and pursuits, it is equally as written all over my miserable face, and an ill feeling that threatens to torture at every corner. Let me put it like this, finally, and then I'll give it a break. Though believe me when I say that within oneself no break ever occurs. In fact, this is a switch that you can never hope to turn off, an itch that never goes. A friend of mine rather naively put his pet guinea pig, female, in with 2 male guinea pigs. Anyway, he didn't leave her in there for long, and the males had a sniff here and there, mostly around the bottom. Then a little later he was showing me the pigs, and then the 2 males started to fight, really rough, basically trying to fucking kill each other. Before then they lived in perfect guinea brotherhood. And now, just a few sniffs of that guinea pussy, and everything has changed for good, or rather for bad. One final point, my friend, we have all known the vacuous, smug, slimy, slightly creepy guy that has shagged hundreds, possibly thousands of women. If not in person, then someone on TV. And you're there going, why? What the fuck? And even the girls are going, oh my god, he's so disgusting. How could they? And then the next thing is the very same girl has just shagged him. Allow me, dear friend, to conclude my most sour fate that once foretold what was once foretold by a palm reading. It may in fact convince you more, as it did me, to know that the palm reader was also a doctor of modern medicine, a young one at that, with no fee. He read my mind lying and could see I would either go as mad or as close as damn it by the very year, and he was in fact bang on. I suffered a breakdown and self-harm rather badly, and came close to suicide. He then read my love line, or whatever he called it, and he told me that there were very few lines there, and only one significant line. This was a kind of cold comfort, the very cold comfort that I draw my conclusion from, my friend. For it is, as I have come to accept, albeit reluctantly, that fate is a very real, say, technical affair. The chemical in question, deciding the minds of women far more than they decide themselves, and I tortured by the splendid objects of desire, the desire itself, which you may note to a degree chemical, and tortured by the ever more apparent near hopelessness that I am doomed to this loveless, sexless, passionless, lonely, frustrating life. That at its most bleak barely seems worth living, feeling alienated from all. Words could never begin to express the pain and anguish I have spent. The majority of my life in. The loneliness and the despair at the rather isolated card I have been dealt. And perhaps worst of all, to be surrounded daily by such large numbers of women, and many of them very beautiful, sexy, even single, at least a percentage, and much of them openly on display, rather like a poor person gazing at the goods in a shop window, only to go home empty-handed to the same dreary monotony, with not even the motivation to cook for oneself, and a sinking feeling in the pit of one's stomach that this could be it. Thank you very much. A cheery number. Still, the human condition must be expressed in all its hideous truth as well as beauty.